G'day, and how's it going? It's Marky here, and welcome back to another episode of r/relationship advice. I do hope you enjoyed today's bloody good episode, and with that said, I want you to sit back, relax, chuck a prawn to the barbie, and let's get right into it. Let's go. Posted by user ThrowRA Carman, titled, "Am I the asshole for buying a brand new car, even though my fiancé said not to, even though we needed it?" So me, 28 male, and my fiancée Ashley, 30 female, have been together for 8 years. I am the only one who drives, as she doesn't have a license, so she relies on me when transportation is an issue, going to work, getting groceries, etc. As for my car, it's a piece of crap. I've had it for 5 years, and I don't know how I managed to make it last this long. It has nearly 250,000 miles on it, it needs 4 new tires, new brakes, the engine is worn, and according to the mechanic, the transmission will go any day. So getting a new car was a pretty big priority, at least for me anyway, but Ashley didn't see it that way. She did not want me to get a new car at all. She started an argument with me that it would be too expensive and we won't have any money for our wedding later this year if we do buy one. But I have money. I've budgeted a lot, and I could afford to buy a brand new car without digging into my savings and still have plenty left in my checking. Granted, yes, I could have just bought a used car, but I swore to myself to get a brand new one because I don't want high maintenance costs again. Despite showing her the numbers and everything, and even agreeing that we would still have plenty of money, she still refused. I decided that I would get a new car anyway, and bought one, paid in full, earlier this week. She was extremely pissed, and since then, Ashley has been avoiding me and figuring out other, costly means of transportation on her own. The way I see it, getting a new car was an absolute necessity, but she did not think so. Did I really do something wrong? Should I have bought a used car? Is there something else that I'm missing? In the comments, SD starting out says, "Not the asshole, but this is a clear sign that you should not be getting married yet. While you are not an asshole, your relationship is not healthy, and you need to figure that out." OP says, "If you're talking about her driver's license, she has tried multiple times, but failed each time." What? No, I'm saying that you're having a major disagreement over what sounds like a reasonable purchase. If you can't handle a situation like this now, as two civil adults, how are you going to handle the multitude of issues like this that will arise from being married? Not the asshole. Did the car get paid coming out of y'all's money, or just your money? But judging from the last paragraph, it was y'all's money that was used for the car. OP says, "It was purely my money and my money alone. We have separate finances." Since OP used the word "my" repeatedly, it's safe to say that this wasn't shared money. Sounds like fiancé wants to control all the money and has it all earmarked for the wedding, which is problematic. Info. Did she have another solution as to how the two of you would be getting around? i.e., is public transportation a reliable and viable option? OP says, "She did not have a different solution. She wanted me to keep my old car. Public transport is no help to me. I don't know about her though. She wanted you to keep using the car that needed new tires and brakes and had an engine and transmission that could go at any moment? I mean, was she aware of the risks that this would pose? Not the asshole, obviously, since I can't for the life of me figure out what else you could have done. You needed a transportation solution, and she wasn't being realistic in how you could approach such a solution." OP says, "That is correct, and yes, she was aware of the issues. And now, as a solution to what she views as overspending, she's needlessly overspending? Brilliant! What is she, 3? Just for clarification, did she have an issue with you buying a car in general, or just that you wanted a brand new, not used vehicle?" OP says, "She had an issue with me buying another car in general. She wanted me to keep my current car until it died for whatever reason." So a 30-year-old who doesn't have a license, and I'm assuming is not a mechanic, is telling you, the person who repairs or pays for repairs of the vehicle, not to get a different car and to wait until it falls apart to the point of being unrepairable at the risk of your lives, even though she depends on said transportation to go anywhere because she does not want you to spend any money except for the wedding. Do I have that straight? Does she contribute to the maintenance of the former vehicle? As in, is she the one under the hood every weekend, pays for the tires, or the brakes, or the new transmission? Honestly, not the arsehole, even though you would have been able to find a good used car at the dealership, but I understand your reasoning. But you need to start the premarital counseling soon, as in today. You two are not on the same page, and your marriage is going to implode before it begins if this is how it normally goes in your relationship. Yeah, this is really just not a good start. I understand that, the car issues and whatever, but this goes beyond the car, obviously. These two need some major work on their problem-solving skills because this is not the biggest argument that can and will pop up over time. If you guys can't solve this one together and she can't come to a logical solution to an obvious problem for the two of you, then what's going to happen when there's more existential problems? Like this one, it's so cut and dry what the answer is, but when it becomes more about feelings and things of that nature, how is she going to respond and is she going to make things worse than they are now? Are you as the OP going to be able to handle that? What are your solutions to putting out those fires? This should be like an easy argument between you guys, and yet it is not going so well. I don't think you're the asshole for buying a brand new car. It makes sense to me. But I think it's a bit of an everyone sucks here for not knowing how to problem solve together. And now, on to the updates. Hello everyone, thank you all for commenting on my first post. There is something that I would like to address before getting to the update. There are a few lengthy threads about how Ashley must be using weaponized incompetence since she failed her driver's test several times. The written part she has passed, it's the driving section that she fails all the time. You see, she has ADHD and is on the spectrum, so she tenses up a lot when she gets behind the wheel. While her anxiety has gone down in recent years, driving is still a sore spot. Now, many of you, including me, believed that this was all just financial abuse and she wanted control of my money. Well, we were all wrong. Yesterday, I went out to take care of a few errands, and when I came back, Ashley came to me with tears. It had looked like she'd been crying for a long time. She apologized for getting angry at me and avoiding me. She said she knew my old car was on its last legs and knew that a new one was necessary. She also understood that there would be plenty of money left. Ashley admitted that she wasn't mad about the money, it was actually the memories of my old car. She only mentioned the wedding because she didn't want to sound pathetic and seemed to be the most obvious choice. You see, last year we had a 14-year-old German Shepherd that we sadly had to put down after she got cancer. Ashley had her ever since she was a pup and loved her very much, and so did I. Ashley was an absolute mess after that. We never took down her crate and had placed her old blankets, pillows, as well as her leash and collar in it. What does this have to do with my car? Well, I still had her old blanket in my old car whenever we took her out. Some of her fur was also still in the back seat, as I almost never vacuumed the back. Ashley was afraid of forgetting her, and that is why she wanted me to keep the car. I assured Ashley that I love her, and that I loved our dog, and if it meant anything, I took the blanket out of the car, which she asked me to place in the crates. I had donated my old car, but the tow truck wouldn't be there to pick it up until tomorrow, so she asked me to see the old car one more time. So we drove to the lot, and she had a tearful goodbye over it. I took her out to eat after that to get her mind away from it. So there you have it, everyone. This was never about money. In the comments, Celebration Next says, Ashley needs to see a therapist. Like, yesterday. Intentionally miscommunicating into the silent treatment is not just immature, it's downright deadly to the relationship. I must be the biggest asshole in the world, because this is the stupidest thing that I've ever heard. She gave you the silent treatment for days because the car had dog hair in it? I have ADHD, I'm on the spectrum, I've lost pets, and this still baffles me. She needs some extensive therapy if she has a full mental breakdown over something like this, because this is not healthy in any way, shape, or form, and that's coming from a person who is a frickin' mess of a human. I had a feeling that it was an irrational attachment to the old car. It's a very human thing to do. I shed a tear when I sold my first car. Even though its replacement was the equivalent model one generation newer, I still miss that car's personality traits. even while driving its direct descendant. The mind is a strange thing. I exchanged my 2008 Focus back in 2020. The car was needing costly repairs, and I was about to have a baby and wanted a newer/safer vehicle. That exchange was tough for me. I bought that Focus right after getting my big girl job. She saw my first me-planned road trip, the ups and downs of 20s relationships, moving a billion times, drove home from my wedding. Just a whole lot of memories. I feel the same when I have to exchange my current car. I sold my 2007 Focus last year for similar reasons, and it hit my wife and I harder than we both thought it would. That was the car that we drove everywhere in at a bunch of milestones in our relationship. We picked up our dog in it, moved into our first apartment together in it, picked up our marriage license in it. You never know how hard nostalgia can hit you until it does. Maybe I'm just not a very sentimental person, but that seems like a massive overreaction on the fiancé's part. I've got to think that there are other, better ways to remember a pet. Edit, just realize that they still have the dog's empty crates, collar, pillows, and blankets in their house. Insisting on driving an unreliable car just because it has dog hair in the back is a lot. You know what? All's well that ends well in this one. At least he knows that it's just something that's wrong with her and not something that's wrong with him. That we can fix with extensive therapy and communication. OP, congratulations. You are not the asshole. You've won this one. Thank you. That's not quite a relationship that I would want to take any part in personally, and it's going to be fun seeing those two work on their communication together and then getting married and doing further work together so that this is avoided in the future. Good luck, OP, and I hope you have a very happy marriage. Let's go. Our next post is by user False Negotiation 92, titled, "Am I wrong for not letting my husband's son stay at our house when he should be with his mother? My 30 female, husband 49 male, and his ex-wife 40s have joint custody of their son 11 male. He stays with his mother from Monday to Thursday and with us from Thursday nights to Monday mornings. And that's worked perfectly for years, but now he wants to break the agreement and stay with us more days a week. And if he had wanted to stay with us a few more days a few months ago, I would have gladly accepted, but not now. He had a complete change in his behavior in the last few months, and honestly, I know it sounds bad, but I can't stand him. And I'm not the only one. His sister, 19 female, can't stand him either. He is rude, dirty, and treats his younger sisters like shit, and my husband no longer knows what to do or what to say to make him change that attitude. Last Monday, he came to our house after school, even though he shouldn't have, and decided that he wanted to stay here all week. According to him, his mother let him stay, but it turns out that she never asked my husband if he could stay here, but we let him stay anyway, and it was hell. We have 3-year-old twins, and recently we had another set of twins. They are 1 month old, and the house is, of course, chaos. We have one person who helps us with the cleaning, and my husband's daughter helps us with the children, and we pay her, and everything is much easier. But since his son is here, no type of help is enough for us. He messes things up in the kitchen every 5 minutes and leaves everything else a mess. He doesn't pick up his clothes off the floor. He plays games on his PlayStation with the volume really high, and worst of all is that whenever he has the opportunity to, he treats his sisters really bad. And it seems that he enjoys making them cry. I used to love having him at home because he was a really sweet boy. But I don't know what happened, and now he's a different person, and every time he comes home, I count the days until he leaves because I can't stand him anymore. The last time he came to our house, my daughters were in the living room watching cartoons, and he turned the television on and off until they started crying. That day, I had a horrible day. My husband had to stay longer at work, his daughter wasn't at home, and I had to be home alone all day with the children. And I had a really hard time getting the girls to sit and watch TV for at least 5 minutes so I could sit and have coffee while the babies took a nap. But I couldn't even do that because I had to calm them down so they would stop crying. They stopped crying, and after 20 minutes, he began to tell them that he was going to take our dog, whom they adore, to his mother's house, and that they wouldn't see him again. And that ended in another crying fit that he didn't even witness because when I appeared in the living room, he went to his room laughing. That night, I spoke to my husband and told him that I don't want him to stay here on the days that he has to stay with his mother because he drives me crazy. Fortunately, he understood because he also struggles with his bad behavior and doesn't know what else to do to change it. He talked to his ex-wife and told her that their son is not behaving appropriately every time he comes here and that things are getting difficult, and that until he changes his attitude, he cannot stay here whenever he wants. And she got furious, and of course she blames me. I'm so tired that sometimes I wish I had never met my husband and thought that it was a good idea to marry someone with children. I don't want to end up hating him because we are family, and we always will be, and that's why I think that until he changes his attitude, we have to respect visiting days. Am I wrong for that? Edit. We tried to take him to therapy, but he doesn't want to. We talked to his mom, and she doesn't want him to go to therapy either, so we can't force him. We tried to find out what is happening, and as I said in a comment, the only drastic change he suffered was that he is no longer the only boy in the family because I had twin boys. Of course, he says that this is stupid and that he doesn't care, but his change began when he found out that they would be boys. In the comments, Unopened Can says, I don't blame you for feeling that way. Have you tried talking to someone about his behavior? If it's a recent change, maybe he's going through something. I would also have a meeting with your husband and the ex to talk about the kid and rediscuss visitation days so that you can have more time to focus on your kids. OP replies, we spoke to a therapist and told him that it would be good to talk to her, but he didn't like the idea and told his mum that he doesn't want to go to therapy because he's not crazy. And sadly, she thinks the same way and we can't force him. So I don't know what else to do. You're the asshole. It's called parenting. Start disciplining him. He will only do what you all allow him to do. Also, he's a kid. He doesn't run the household. OP replies, I tried to discipline him within the limits that I have for being his stepmother, but he doesn't even listen to me. The last time he was playing online games with the volume really high, I tried to take his PlayStation away, and he went crazy and started yelling at me that I'm not his mum and that I have no right to tell him what to do. And honestly, I'm so tired with my 4 children that I don't have the strength to try to educate him. Where is your husband/his father? He should be parenting, and he should back you up when the son says that you can't tell him what to do. OP replies, trying to find a way to know what is happening to him and how to help him. He is a present father for all his children. He told him many times that he should respect me and listen to me, but he completely ignored him. There is no way that your husband is a present father for all his children. When was the last time your husband took a day and spent it with his oldest son? Talking and yelling isn't what his child needs. He needs his dad to spend some one-on-one time with him. Going to a ball game or a movie or whatever the child enjoys would go a long way. Do you not understand puberty? God help you when you have 4 kids going through puberty and the teenage years at the same time. OP replies, every Saturday he goes to play soccer with my husband and their children, and he takes him to piano lessons on Tuesdays. Apart from that, he spends a lot of time with his dad when he is at home. He loves to help him cook. He likes to go running with him. They spend a lot of time together. My husband never stopped paying attention to him to pay attention to his younger siblings. It never was, nor will it be, like that. I don't think that it's a coincidence that his behavior changed over the last few months and you had twin babies. I think he desperately needs some regular one-on-one time with his father. He's inserting himself negatively into your babies and other twins' lives so that he gets some sort of attention. His father needs to take him out for one day and do something just with him. He's probably struggling with having to share his dad with 4 new siblings. I mean, he is 11, and getting 4 siblings in 3 years would be hard. Maybe get him into some family therapy rather than alienate him. And now, onto the updates. First of all, I want to clarify that I do love my stepson. A post of a few paragraphs doesn't describe our relationship in any way. I'm just used to calling him my husband's son because I had a lot of problems in the past with his mother because she didn't like me calling him that. Because that confused him, and during his first years, he tried many times to call me mum. Another thing that I want to clarify is that my stepdaughter doesn't raise my children. She only babysits them from time to time for a few hours, and we pay her, so that she has her own money and doesn't have to work while she's in college. As for my stepson, he came to stay here these days, and once again made my life hell. I started baking cookies with the girls, and asked him if he wanted to help us, and he accepted. But when I left the hot cookie plate on the counter, he took the hand of one of his sisters and placed hers on the hot plates, and of course, he burned her. And listen, I know that it was my fault for leaving it near the kids, but he shouldn't have done that. After that, they sat down to watch a movie and drink milk and cookies in the living room, and he cut about 4 centimeters of one of the girls' hair as a joke. I scolded him, and he said that it was unintentional, that he was just joking, and that he didn't really want to cut her hair. That same day, my husband and I cut off his internet access and confiscated his electronics, and had a talk with him for the 1,000th time. And all he said was that he hates his siblings because they're going to replace him, that his mother told him that my husband stopped taking him to soccer practice because he wants to spend time with his new children. And that could not be further from the truth. My husband stopped taking him to soccer practice because he got a promotion and works longer shifts. He knows this because my husband told him, because that's why he takes him to his piano lessons even when he is with his mum. But he believed his mum, and he's been acting like a demon ever since. My husband is an incredible father to all of his children and works hard to give everything to all of them. He pays for his daughter's apartment and her studies, and every Saturday he takes her to lunch at her favorite restaurant to have some time alone. On Saturday nights, he goes to play soccer with his son and friends and their children, and as I said before, he takes him to his piano lessons. Then they go to dinner, and he takes him to his mother's house. They also used to go fishing every weekend, but that's something that his mother didn't like, so my husband had to stop doing it. I never intervened in their relationship, because I had no relationship with my father, and I didn't want his children to go through the same thing. So I always supported him spending time with them, and I would never do anything to harm their relationship, and I admit that maybe this time I acted in an exaggerated way, but I was desperate. I don't even sleep more than 1 hour a day, and yet I have to function all day and take care of 2 newborns, 2 toddlers, and a preteen who now hates me. We can't even afford a full-time nanny to help me because, as I said above, my husband is the one who pays for his daughter's studies because a few months ago, we found out that the ex-wife was using the money that was for her studies, and if I had known that before, I would have never gotten pregnant a second time. I clarify that for those who judged me for choosing to be a mother again. My stepson will be without electronics or internet for a month and will start therapy next week, even though his mother doesn't want to. And of course, from now on, he won't be unsupervised with his siblings either, which makes life more difficult, yet I accepted it because I just want this mess to be solved. My husband is talking to his lawyer to see if he can get more days with his son, and we're waiting for his lawyer to tell him how to proceed legally. That's all. In the comments, Wonky Doodle Poodle says, "Your husband should be getting this child into therapy. He burned his sister's hand. He also needs to fight back against the mum for parental alienation and assure that his child is not being replaced by the new siblings. You keep stepping in to say this, but your husband needs to be doing this. If his job is too important to have time for his child, then yeah, just throw the kid away because you can't have that threat in your home, but this is a seriously messed up situation that doesn't sound like anyone wants to get proper advice on how to handle." So kid hates his younger siblings, but simultaneously doesn't want to go to mum's house to go get away from them. Seems to me like mum is the source of the problems. You can see this at the start of the post. He's with his mum from Monday after school until Thursday before school, so the only time he spends there is already divided in half days because of school. Then later on, we learn that Tuesdays after school, Dad takes him to piano lessons and for dinner. He's 11. His bedtime is probably pretty early, so he only spends around 2 to 3 hours with his mum on Tuesdays. So he's got that, plus Monday after school, Wednesday before and after school, and then Thursday before school. Factor in that before school, people are mostly busy, getting ready, showering, grabbing stuff, eating, and traveling, So that doesn't really leave room for time to spend together or even actual conversation. Most mothers want to spend some free quality time with their child, yet this one seems to be fine with seeing hers for the bare minimum, for the obligation only. Add behavioral problems and lashing out at that, behavior escalating, especially after even more children got added to that equation, there is no way in hell this child does not feel neglected. Also, honestly, it makes sense to me despite all the comments wondering why he spends time there instead of at mum's. Why would you lash out for attention in a household where you're not getting it? Of course you're going to act out with the parents who will give you the attention that you want. Yes, OP's household has levers that he can use to get attention, being mean to his half-siblings. He's crossed over to assault. Something happened at his mother's house, and his father doesn't know how to talk to his wife about it. It had to be bad. Kid went from sweetest boy to attacking his sisters. What in the actual hell are these parents doing about it? This is escalating, and someone's about to get permanent damage. Yeah, he literally burnt one of his sister's hands and cut off her or the other sister's hair. It doesn't sound like he feels bad about his actions at all. This is going to get worse before it gets better. And that's where I'm going to end today's episode, guys. I do hope you enjoyed. If you did, let me know what you thought of it in the comments down below, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!